Unrivaled League needs Caitlin Clark, and they are preparing to offer her a massive deal.
Even though they thought they were in on the exclusive club, Angel Ree and A.A. Wilson are undoubtedly feeling the heat as Caitlin Clark finally disclosed her leaked contract for the Unmatched League. The others were unaware of the incredible offer that Breanna Stewart was making to Clark in secret.
It has just been reported today that Caitlin Clark could receive a Lionel Messi-like offer to play in Unrivaled startup 3-on-3 league, which is a full court press to sign her.
It was an easy strategy. Clark wasn't just secretly hired by Unrivaled. Rather, they made it seem like top-secret intelligence by enforcing a stringent no-disclosure provision against her.
This is also interesting to me because I feel like it is kind of late in the game to start recruiting Caitlin Clark. The Unrivaled League has 26 of their 30 players already.
Clark, however, has now had enough of the hush and is stating unequivocally that everyone who is rejoicing over her removal from Unrivaled is entirely mistaken.
Caitlin Clark is needed for this league. It should be one of their main goals is to get her to play in the league no matter what that costs, no matter what that is going to.
The sole objective of Unrivaled, the new fearless face in women's basketball, is to completely alter the course of women's sports. However, since they weren't here to play by anyone else's rules, allow me to tell you the whole story if you're not familiar with it.
They're realizing we might need Caitlin. Nafisa Collier, who is one of the founders of Unrivaled, had this to say about Caitlin Clark.
Backed by powerful individuals like Breanna Stewart and Nam, this is more than just a league. In essence, it's a movement. Consider 3 games that are quite intense. Giving women's basketball the Showtime focus it hasn't seen in years is the aim of the primetime coverage. The nicest thing is that they didn't look for any athletes to make this impression. Rather, they started out with a single, dominant moniker in mind: Clark, Caitlin.
Go ahead and look. Everywhere you turn, Indiana Fever's breaking.
The plot, however, took a turn for the worse when Unrivaled debuted, leaving fans perplexed as to why the biggest emerging star, Caitlin Clark, was absent. Social media exploded as sports broadcast couldn't stop posing the query unprecedentedly. The comment section was flooded with inquiries about Caitlin's whereabouts.
Definitely upsetting. I don't think nobody in our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments and threats.
It's brand new. It's going to be hard to get eyeballs on it. All of these, I mean, the WNBA is in their 28th season and it's still a new league. Like, it's hard to get the kind of virality, viewership, all the things that you want right off the bat, and especially if you don't have a big name or a big draw.
A rookie pull is not something you see every day. The fact that she isn't even on the starting roster for the biggest new league in existence seemed like a kick in the face to the majority of fans, despite the fact that arena attendance is rising by 50% due to the size of the crowd. Unrivaled believed they could have their huge premiere without Clark, as if they hadn't seen her value or worse.
The kind of physicality and double teams and face guards and all of those things that she was receiving on the court, but also all of the noise, all of the drama, all the media circus surrounding her off the court, that just had to have been so much to handle.
But none of Stewart's outstanding employees were fully aware of their responsibilities. Breanna Stewart, one of the league's co-founders, is accustomed to a well-timed disclosure. She unintentionally kept Clark's involvement a secret instead. They intended to keep the supporters in suspense until shocking them with the information when it was crucial. They did not want Clark's deal to surpass everyone else on the roster too quickly. Thus, they were building suspense and preparing the ground so that Clark's revelation would come as a huge shock.
To be one of the top paid players in the world just for the sheer numbers that she's bringing.
Caitlin Clark was presented with an amazing proposition: $75 million to become a part of Unrivaled. Furthermore, it was like an earthquake in the sports world when those leaked details made headlines. Clark received all of the benefits of the deal, which was intended to make her the official face of Unrivaled, a player ambassador marketing machine. A substantial guaranteed income exclusive TV rights, sponsorship deals, and even a front row seat in Unrivaled, extensive intentions to expand internationally.
To drive revenue so we can give the players extra income opportunities. I had to actually educate the players. They're like, good, 75 million divided by 144 payout.
The goal was to avoid causing too much agitation too soon. However, they hit like a tsunami for perspective after the numbers were removed. Stewart and her group were aware that this transaction was so significant that other players would begin discussing renegotiations or possibly feeling a little excluded as soon as they smelled it. The current NBA MVP, a Wilson, makes about $230,000 a year. Clark's contract is the kind that exclaims new level as if it were unimportant.
Just announced recently that Unrivaled struck a television deal with TNT. Now, this exclusive media rights deal is reported to be 45 plus primetime games. TNT Sports are also invested in the league, and sources say that it's a 6-year deal that could be worth more than $100 million.
In 2024, the WNBA drew an average of 657,000 fans each game, with Clark at the heart of that number. They're obviously serious about turning women's basketball into a primetime phenomenon, as seen by their recent, unprecedented arrangement. With TNT, we're talking about more than 45 games that are broadcast on television and a concerted effort to attract viewers that even the WNBA hasn't perfected. Unmatched is wagering that she can more than double that amount.
The biggest issue that players have, we did a player survey and travel. The league was able to kind of take a lot of pressure off.
Additionally, even though the fans love it, Clark's colleagues, who are all excellent WNBA players like A.A. Wilson and Angel Reese, have a slightly different attitude. In addition to a few startling examples, Clark's offer is a clear illustration of the extreme financial disparity in the sport.
There have been so many players, coaches, media personality who have been so afraid to just admit the fact that Caitlin Clark has been the sole reason for so many of these things happening this season in the WNBA.
Angel Reese even took to social media to express her displeasure, suggesting that one mega contract overshadowed years of hard work for the sport. She cannot be held responsible for seeing a youngster join the market with a bid that exceeds the pay for the season for sportsmen earning between $150,000 and $200,000. Stars are frugal. It's evident how far behind bankroll priorities are when you consider that Clark's contract is more than 20 times their wage.
Yeah, what's the headline? It says, we're not asking to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking to get paid the same percentage of revenue share.
The exciting part begins at this point. Although this agreement could significantly enhance women's sports, there is a chance that it will also lead to significant conflict. The WNBA has fought hard to gain more respect, money, and television time. They are now witnessing Clark appear unmatched with a golden ticket that is far more valuable than they have ever seen. Seeing a young athlete like Clark suddenly in a league of her own, both financially and physically, is likely to generate resentment among players who have dedicated years to the sport's development.
I want to rush into it because we wanted new owners, like new ownership groups. Anyone who knows sports here knows like it's a slog to be a sports.
However, Caitlin Clark is not your typical player. She is now a complete sensation and a commercial treasure trove. She proved why during her debut season in the WNBA, since the league has typically had trouble drawing as many spectators as its male counterparts.
Overall viewership, like Nafisa said, they're changing venues just to accommodate all the fans who want to come watch Caitlin Clark play.
The Clark effect has resulted in a 50% increase in arena attendance. To witness her brilliance on the court, fans came. She also drew over 1 million spectators per game when she performed, which was unheard of in the WNBA. Clark sparked the league from the first day, rather than just joining it. Her presence enthralled viewers long after the buzzer sounded, and her highlights became viral on the internet.
This noise came by people that were sitting on this network. They tried to minimize her, saying, well, you giving her all this credit.
Let's talk about merchandise for a moment. More than just watching Clark was what fans desired. They wanted a piece of the action, and her jersey broke sales records for NBA apparel by practically flying off the racks. The WNBA has been fighting hard to get the accolades it so rightfully deserves because of Caitlin Clark's identity, her actions, and her entire brand. Clark's arrival felt like a divine gift from the basketball gods. She provided much-needed publicity and excitement. Additionally, she attracted more than just the typical audience. Additionally, she drew in a whole new, younger, and much larger fan base.
But we have former NBA players playing in Big Three, right? So for Cube to come out and be like, I'm going to pay Caitlin Clark more than I play any of these guys who used to play in the NBA. I'm going to pay Caitlin Clark more because that's the value that I see in her.
Caitlin Clark was another league before it made its extraordinary offer. The top players in the Big Three leagues, who are primarily former NBA luminaries, earn between $1,100 and $500,000 annually. To put this into perspective, however, in order to get Clark to join his league, Ice Cube was prepared to spend 6 times that sum. This went beyond just bringing in a gifted athlete. Bringing Clark's electrifying energy and indisputable appeal to a league renowned for its all-male, big-name roster was another goal. Yes, that is the one where all of the former NBA players will compete in 3 honors games in 2024.
He was so unapologetic with the way that he came out and said, this is who we want, this is the value that we see in her, regardless. If she can't make a game, that's totally fine. We know that it coincides with WNBA season.
This was no ordinary athletic offer. Cube was making a big impression. In a league made up of former NBA heavyweights, he recognized something in Clark that was above and beyond the norm. In order to accommodate her, he was prepared to add the customs of the other 3. He wanted Clark to be well-liked in all sports, even if it meant putting aside the egos of his former heroes. Due to the fact that she played more than simply women's basketball, it has the power to entice sports lovers from all around the world.
We have Lisa Leslie, Nancy Lieberman, like there are legends among us in the Big Three, and there are high-level former professional athletes on our courts, and he was okay putting it out there because he knew how much it could help the Big.
However, this is where Clark's decision gets even more intriguing because she showed that she wasn't only interested in the money or a short opportunity at celebrity by turning down Cube and sticking with the WNBA. Clark chose the WNBA as her home base because she saw it as a place where she could grow professionally and support others as they grow from the inside out. Her commitment to her career and the future of women's sports was demonstrated by this choice.
Unrivaled would have taken that exact approach, and what it feels like to me is Caitlin Clark was an afterthought in all of this. And maybe she was, maybe she wasn't, maybe they wanted to wait until after the WNBA season.
When Unrivaled eventually returned with their $75 million huge deal, they knew that by choosing the WNBA, they weren't just buying a player. They had a once-in-a-generation talent on their hands. Someone who was sincerely devoted, motivated, and ready to prioritize the sport. In athletics, Clark established a completely new benchmark for loyalty. Although money is wonderful, remaining meant more to her than a salary. Fans took notice of her determination to improve women's basketball and help shape its future.